You thought there was nothing left to talk about Missouri, but we're here to tell you there's plenty to talk about. Maybe Daniel has come back from his hatred of the defense. Maybe he's doubled down. Maybe Carson Beck isn't that great, or maybe he is him in entirety. Maybe other guys showed out on offense. We're going to talk about that and more next on Locked On Bulldogs.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. So happy that you have decided to join us today. Today's episode brought to you by Prize Picks. More on them in a moment. Clint.
Yes.
It's been, shout out to our boy, George Foster. Great guy and former UGA player and great UGA media personality these days. Who reminded us on Twitter that since early November of 2020.
Okay, I was going to say it's early November right now, Daniel, but
since early November of 2020, Clint.
It's a long time ago.
Your football team has lost.
How many?
Once.
So what you're saying,
just the one time.
So what you're saying, Daniel, is there are potentially soon going to be half-day preschoolers.
Yeah. We're talking about you're getting them signed up for Little League.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And they've been alive for one defeat.
Alive.
Uh-huh. Zero regular season losses in that time span. One total loss. It's a wild time to be a Georgia Bulldog fan. Let the record show that according to Alabama fans, who, by the way, couple things. Number one, Alabama fan, welcome to the show. It's our favorite time of year when we just get an influx of our favorite Alabama fans. And so sincerely,
legitimately, he's not kidding.
Stick around till the third segment, Alabama fan. I'm going to say something that's going to fire up the 199 that you're going to love. So just stick around to the third segment. That's a bit of a tease. But according to Alabama fans, Georgia is down bad, Clint. We are down as a football program. Let me explain to you what down means. It means that we've won 26 games in a row.
A lot.
Clint. We're back-to-back national champions.
Yep.
We've lost one time since COVID. And we just beat the number 12 team in the nation by 2 scores in a football game. And that means we're down bad, Clint. It's a tough time to be a Georgia fan when the measuring stick is so high that a lot of us are disappointed by just winning and winning and winning. But upon further review, Clint, yes, we can have all sorts of feelings about this team. Yes, I can have all sorts of feelings about this defense. I'm entitled to them, and I'm going to have them, and that's fine. Well, let's all just remember where we are right now. Where we are is in the middle of one of, if not the greatest college football runs that the world has ever seen. And we're just still right smack dab in the middle of it, Clint.
Y'all realize this. The crescendo is right before us. We have 2 more talented teams on the radar for us. The schedule is going to get harder. Ole Miss, Tennessee.
Yeah. And then you got Georgia Tech, and then you got Alabama and then you got playoff teams after that. There's going to be plenty of opportunities for Georgia to lose.
Sure.
But we're in the middle of a run that just, it doesn't happen.
This doesn't happen. Okay, let me recap all the things that I was told was going to change the landscape of college football.
Here we are.
Okay. NIL is going to drastically change the landscape
Yeah,
of college football.
absolutely.
College football playoff drastically
No, you
change the
can't.
landscape.
You won't be able to win with the
Alignment
conference
drastically.
realignment. Boy, oh boy.
Okay. I'm going to coaching changes, fluidity within academics, COVID, social media, boost. Go down the list. Okay. In all of that, what's remained the same?
Kirby, just going to be Kirby.
Kirby gonna win. Kirby
Mhm.
gonna get his dudes. Kirby's going to beat you down. Kirby's gonna coach. Kirby is him. I'm saying this right now. And again, this for all of you Bama fans that are out there
Welcome
listening
again.
right now. Again,
Happy to have you.
for all you Florida fans that are talking about dynasty, there has never been a harder time to play college football than currently.
It's objectively true. Next year, when the college football playoff goes to 8 or 12 or whatever they're doing, I guess 12, it's going to be even harder to win national championships. Like it's going to be even harder to win national championships.
So, in the midst of the hardest time to win ever, Kirby's doing it at a clip of 1 loss since how many?
In 3 years.
This is the greatest run of college football ever in the history of college football. Now you can say when I literally don't care. With everything else that's facing us. It's like saying I started 3 businesses and bought 10 homes during the Depression. That's what it's like. If it's the hardest time, okay, great. Anybody can. In the 80s, sure, everybody out here, sure, I got 10 houses. Well, who wasn't and doing cocaine all at the same time? Like, okay, it's the 80s, y'all. Weird times.
Hey, Clint, ask Clint about the 80s sometime. If you're interested.
Or don't. This is the greatest run ever in college football.
It's wild.
And we're in the midst of it.
It's wild, Georgia fans.
And he is taking, again, many of the commenters pointed out to us as we were talking about this game, post-game overreaction on Saturday. Missouri had 2 weeks to plan for this game. We had to go rest up for Florida, play our rival, take the best shot for them surgically down the field. Mizzou had 2 weeks to rest up, to game plan, to focus, to get going, to practice 2 weeks instead of 1 week, to implement, to install. We took their shot. We held them to the fewest points that they have gained all year long.
And I'm going to talk about some Georgia players in segments 2 and 3. I want to get into all that. Let me just end segment 1 here, though. Missouri's really good. There's at no point when I was quote unquote slandering the Missouri defense this week, or when I was like, just because I was confident Georgia was going to win the game, which again, they did.
There it is.
By multiple scores. Just because I was confident Georgia was going to win the game, that's not an indication that I think Georgia is some unbeatable juggernaut, and it's not an indication that Missouri is not a good team. I think Missouri is a really good football team.
Very.
Now, I'm going to be very interested to watch Missouri play Tennessee this weekend. And Missouri fans, if you're still here,
they're not.
You need to win this game. If you're gonna be a good team,
you want to be with the big boy table.
You got to win this game. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens to Missouri. But I think Missouri is a very good football team. Georgia won a very tough game, a very tightly contested game against a very good football team. And I don't think at any point during this week did we say anything to contradict that. And we certainly do not feel that way now. So,
nope.
No slander to Missouri. Georgia played a heck of a game, and Georgia got the win. We're going to talk about some dudes that showed out. We're going to talk about what we saw as we watched this game back. But first, we're going to talk about this.
And these, Daniel, these plural things are athleticbrewing.com. Use promo code LOCKEDON for 15% off your first order. Daniel, this time for the game changer of the week.
Yeah,
Athletic Brewing
okay.
is a game changer. We have a game changer. We've talked
Mhm.
about Kirby. We've talked about Carson Beck. This week's game changer, and he has been a game changer ever since he's come back from injury, Ladd McConkey. Ladd McConkey is him and the wide receiver. You
Ooh-wee.
saw him contested ball down the field. He is
Mhm.
that dude. He plays well. He plays high point. He plays possession. He can
Kirby
catch. He
said the
can
first
run.
post we've completed all season. Lad,
Well,
congratulations to you, sir.
was Arian running that route?
Arian was on the field a couple times in this
I saw
game.
him dressed.
Same play. He both times didn't go to him either time, but
No.
I thought, ooh, are we gonna chuck it down? Nope.
Athleticbrewing.com. They are fantastic alcohol-free brews. They taste better, and I mean legitimately better because they win awards than alcoholic brews. They are non-alcoholic and they're game changer. Athleticbrewing.com. Take them to a little league game, take them to a tailgate, take them to your office, and no one's going to look at you sideways because they don't have the added effect of a hangover because there's no alcohol, but yet they taste crisp, refreshing. They are fantastic. Athleticbrewing.com. Use promo code locked on for 15% off your first order. Daniel, also eBay Motors.
eBay Motors. You love to get the right part, the exact right fit for your car, your truck, your SUV, whatever it is that you have. Clint and I fixing up a 2004 Honda CRV, and it is
Ooh.
going to net us a healthy profit. And when it does, it'll be all thanks to eBay Motors. You go there, you get the right part, you put your car, your make and model, put it in your garage on ebaymotors.com. Once your car is in your virtual garage, then you simply go through eBay's catalog of parts, millions and millions of parts to choose from. You pick the part that you want, and it'll instantly tell you whether or not it fits on your car. It is a eBay guaranteed fit, only available to U.S. customers. The right part, the right fit at the right price, all at ebaymotors.com. Don't risk going anywhere else to get your auto parts. Go to ebaymotors.com.
All right, some guys that showed out as we rewatched the game. We went back, we did watch it. It was exciting to rewatch again, knowing the outcome of the game is fantastic. Was not so bucket worthy this time around, although I still had reminiscence of that feeling.
I remember well the bucket.
What
Let me
what
start
did
here
you
on
notice,
this
guys that
much
showed out?
maligned defense, Clint.
Thank you. Here
Much
we go.
maligned by me, but let me start here.
Okay.
Kamari Lassiter,
Ooh.
Clint. This man he's come out not just this week now. Now I know he's getting a lot of steam. He's getting a lot of wind in the sails this week. And rightfully so. We're going to get to it in a second. But I want to say this is a carryover from Florida. This is a carryover from pre-Florida, from Kentucky. This is a carryover looking backwards throughout the season. Kamari Lassiter started off a little bit slow, just like most in the secondary did at the beginning of the season. But he has absolutely come on like gangbusters. He is turning himself quickly into a legitimate shutdown corner on one side of the field. But this just in, Clint, not just one side of the field. It turns out you just move this guy like a Swiss Army knife anywhere you want. He slides into the slot, which, it's been much reported by guys like Brooks Austin, by other people that cover the UJ program. So we're not breaking any news here. But it's hard to appreciate as a non-high level football player how difficult it is for a defensive back to transition from playing corner on the outside to playing corner in the slot. It's a completely different set of techniques. It's a completely different set of rules and physicality that you have to be aware of. There's a lot more mentally that you have to take into account, a whole different set of things that you have to be concerned with. And Kamari Lassiter, Kirby said they spent a lot of time on tape. They know that they like to use Luther in the slot. And he said, we just can't let these slot guys go out and beat us. We were worried about guys like Tyke Smith matched up against the slot receivers. And in the second half of that game, Kirby and Glenn Schumann just said enough is enough. And so we're going to put Julian and Dalen Everett on the outsides. and we're just going to drop 3 right there into the slot. And
How do you do?
he did real well, Clint.
Yeah.
Kamari Lassiter is probably the biggest, most physical slot corner I've ever seen in my life, because he's not a slot corner. He's big, athletic, tall, fast. He's an outside corner. But when you can drop him in and play him in the slot, it's almost unfair. It is a weapon for him to have the versatility that he did. Now, Julian Humphrey came on and certainly had his best game as a dog. Looked good. We mentioned that. Dalen Everett, I did not love what I saw.
Let's not mention that. Let's keep with the good vibes.
Okay. But if you want, if you're talking about a future matchup for Georgia where
Thank you.
where you've got a multitude of guys who are moving around on the field, playing a bunch of different positions, and you need more than 2 really healthy, really good corners. The availability of a guy like Kamari Lassiter to slide inside, I think, could be huge for this Georgia team moving forward.
We have talked about many times. Tyke Smith, sometimes fantastic, other times falls off the face of the planet, hot and cold, real Jekyll and Hyde type situation. But Kamari Lassiter has been consistently fantastic the entire season. I mean, the entire season. Every time you look at the film, and I'm going to talk about what this means going forward, because I saw the same exact thing you did, Daniel, when you rewatch it. You get a guy who takes away half the field. He takes away a weapon. He takes away somebody's dude. And when you don't have the dude anymore, you're screwed, Daniel, as an offense. Now, Georgia's not, because Georgia has many dudes and we could spread it around all over the place. You could take away the best college football player on the planet and we still score at whatever pace we want. So that's there. But Kamari Lassiter does everything I want in a corner. Physical toughness, tackling, locating the ball. This is one of the hardest things. Now, I saw this, if I could be totally honest. Everett, I did not see this from, excuse me, but I saw it in everybody else that came in. And Kamari Lassiter is the guy who starts with this. He locates the ball. Not only is he in phase, not only was he in perfect position on a lot of passes that were incomplete. And that's, as a corner, it's kind of like a tackle. You don't get your name talked about that much because when it's an incomplete, you did your job.
Unless it ain't good.
Unless it ain't good.
Yeah.
Kamari Lassiter is him. Daniel, I'm going to go to another name on defense. Much more I understand, but he's going to get a lot more run in the coming weeks, I anticipate. Jalen Walker, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your starting inside linebacker for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, let's talk about this because we got some questions. People are asking. Didn't really address the JDJ injury on Saturday's show, but obviously significant. Fractured forearm, which I would have bet anything that he had a separated shoulder. I would have bet
that's
anything,
what my money was on. Right.
Anything that's what the injury was. Apparently a fracture in the forearm. Time will tell what that means for the rest of the season. If he's going to try to play in a cast, if he's going to, what the timetable is on that. But let's just say for the foreseeable future, JDJ is either going to be severely limited or out entirely. Big opportunity for some guys, and that starts with Jalen Walker.
I really do. I think they're going to be a rotation, but you saw when JDJ came out, Jalen Walker moved from the edge back to inside backer. He got his hand off the ground. He doesn't put his hand on the ground often, even when he's on the edge. Regardless, here's what impresses me about this young kid. The dude is a playmaker through and through, Daniel. And that's where I want to end this segment before we go to segment 3 and get your chance to talk to Alabama fan that's here because they're preparing themselves. But Jalen Walker, Nazir Stackhouse, Lassiter, Chaz Chambliss, throw him in. Like, this is what elevates Georgia against a team like Missouri. Missouri was prepared. They were disciplined. They gave their entire bag of tricks. But when you don't have dudes, and that's Nazir Stackhouse,
that's just not enough of them.
Not enough of them. That play, Nazir, was just Nazir being a dude. That's it. He just said, I'm going to affect this entire play. Kamar Lasser, the same thing. And then Jalen Walker, he's that guy as well. Dipping his shoulder on the outside. He pressured, he had sacked, he had hits, as well as tackles. I anticipate him to have a significant role. He's not going to leave the field, Dan, because either he's going to be on the edge or he's going to be in the middle or he's going to be dropping in the coverage somewhere down the line. He's going to be on the field a lot with JDJ's injury, I anticipate. We're going to come back after this, and Daniel's going to give the Alabama fans all something they really want to hear. But first, this. And this is Prize Picks, prizepicks.com/LockedOnCollege. Use promo code LockedOnCollege for the first deposit match up to $100. Here's what you do. Daily fantasy made easy. It's not a gaggle of team put
Simple.
together.
It's just your team. Not doing it's just the team you want. Yeah.
And it's just the players that you want. You're going to go, you're going to find somebody, you're going to look at a line, look at a stat, look at a number that you like, and you're going to say, is it more or less? Will Jackson Dart throw more or less than 1.5 interceptions this coming week, Daniel?
Time will tell. Who's to say?
Will tell. Well, we will give
just
predictions.
Find a player that plays for the Falcons.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
And take the under on any stat except turnovers.
All Falcons fans, please call therapy. Just
why?
But don't call us therapy when you have daily fantasy made simple. PrizePicks.com/LockedOnCollege right now. Get over there. It's simple. It's easy. It's convenient. Dan and I love them. We go there all the time. Locked On College for a first deposit match up to $100. You put $100 in, they give you $100 match. PrizePicks.com/LockedOnCollege. Okay.
Clint, before we get to Alabama fans, just to follow up on the JDJ conversation. Number one, we've been on this guy all season.
Yeah. Okay, this is fair.
We've been on him all season, but this is a massive loss for Georgia. And let the record show no one could possibly believe anything differently.
He improved the last 2 weeks drastically.
And the reason it's a massive loss for Georgia is not even because of that. No. It's not even because of his tackling or his speed or his ability to fit a run. The reason it's a massive loss for Georgia is because we're not. So, like, the question's being asked, who's going to replace JDJ? And people are throwing out names like Jalen Walker, etc. Sure. But the thing is that none of the names that are being thrown out are going to replace JDJ. Nope. The guy that's going to replace number 10 is Smile Mondon. Smile Mondon is now going to have to become the guy who sets the defense. Smile Mondon is now going to have to become the guy who gets everybody in the right position, because the thing that number 10 did that didn't show up on the film, that didn't show up on the stat sheet, that didn't show up when you rewatch the game tape, the thing that he did was he got everybody aligned where they needed to go. He was the guy pre-snap that made sure the defensive line was set, that made sure everybody was in position, that made sure everybody had the play call. Now, all of a sudden, you don't just lose a guy who in previous years was your best tackler and in recent weeks had begun to come back into form that we had seen. You also lose the quarterback of the defense. And now a guy like Smile Mondon, who's never really had to fill that role before, is having to slide in that position. Now, just be honest, Clint, the defense looked out of sorts at the end of the game, to say the least.
And that's putting it kindly.
Once Pops was out. And so, yes, I think the guys that are going to be filling Smile Mondon's shoes are Jalen Walker and Wilson and CJ Allen, the two true freshmen. Those guys have been playing absolutely fantastic, and they're going to keep playing a lot, and I'm excited for them, and they're also true freshmen, and so I need a bucket when I think about being on the field.
What's the hardest position in the SEC to play according to Kirby Smart?
Sure, that one, the one that the true freshmen are playing.
Cool.
So those guys are trying to step in and fill Smile Mondon's shoes. Meanwhile, the thing I'm more nervous about than true freshmen being on the field is Smile Mondon trying to fill the leadership role and the alignment role and the captain of the defense role that JDJ had filled. So this is the concern for Georgia fans that they
Can you talk to
need take
Alabama
seriously.
fans now, Daniel? Because you've just given us bucket list after bucket list. Can you talk to Alabama fans now?
Welcome to the 199, by the way.
Come on.
You love the
Come on.
199.
We
Happy
we
that
do.
they're here. We do. We love them. You're not gonna love this. Just so we're clear, you're not gonna love this. If
The
you're part of
199 or me or all.
most people are not gonna love what I'm about to say,
Great.
but I genuinely mean it. And I reserve the right, and I probably will change my mind between
will.
now and the first weekend of December.
Trust me, he will.
I probably will. And why wouldn't I? I mean, I have every.
You'll have
That
more
doesn't
data.
make that
You'll have more
doesn't
data.
make what I'm about to say any less true.
It's true.
If
yeah.
the SEC championship game were on Saturday,
Okay.
I would pick Alabama to win 100 times out of 100. And Georgia fan is not going to care for that take. Georgia fan is going to be upset and, dare I say, triggered by that analysis. But I'm just telling you what I see. There's not a chance that the team I watched on Saturday can stop Jalen Milroe from running the ball straight down our throat. There's nothing that this defensive front can do about it based on what I have seen to this point in the season. This ain't Ray Davis we're talking about.
No.
And the vaunted Kentucky run game. This is not ETN and Billy Napier's offense. Okay.
By the way, T's and P's to Billy Napier.
We haven't even talked about.
Can we talk about Sunbelt Billy?
Well, we ain't gonna call him Bowl Game Billy. That's for sure. We might as well call him Sunbelt Billy. That might have to. We need a whole segment later.
We do.
I'm just telling you, Georgia fans. Objectively looking at the teams. I know it was fun to make fun of Alabama early in the year. It's still fun to make fun of Alabama. It's fine. That's great. They lost to Texas. It's funny. It's everybody's laughing. It's fine. But I think Alabama beats Georgia on a neutral field way more often than not at this moment.
I would love to push back.
Mm-hmm. He'd love to.
I would love to come out here.
Let's all sit here and listen to Clint push back then.
Nope, that's the sound of silence, friends, because the deal is this. I'll just use a term and see if I trigger more Georgia fans than you did.
Okay, this is great.
Exceptional running quarterback. He's not a quarterback. He's the best running back in the SEC. And I'm not trying to slight him. I'm not trying to insult him. Alabama, you finally figured out that you aren't who you thought you were.
How to run your offense?
Now you know your offense. And I'm sad you figured out how to run your offense. Truly am. Because it's quite good.
I mean, yeah. I can hear you in the comments. I get it. LSU's defense is second to USC, probably the second worst defense in college football.
He's not making $2 million anymore today, Dave.
That's not USC. Well, he still is, actually. He still is. But he's not employed anymore.
That's true.
I get that LSU's defense. I'm not saying that Alabama's going to score that easily on Georgia as they did on LSU. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just telling you, I watched the Missouri game. Mm-hmm. I watched the defense up front. I've seen the linebackers play. So Kamari Laster's not going to do. Jermaine Burton ain't scared. Okay, like that ain't it. That's not what I'm worried about. But I just don't see a pathway where Georgia is able to really stop Alabama from doing whatever they want. So
it's been a good run.
Fans, we're not worried about that right now, but I just need to get out ahead of it. I need to get out ahead of it right now.
It's called emotional hedging. He's trying his best.
We're going to be back talking about Ole Miss because that's the next thing that's in front of this Georgia team. And the cupcake schedule sends another top 10 opponent to Athens. And so it'll be fun. We'll talk all about that. We've got lots of thoughts on Ole Miss, Jackson Dart, Quinshon Judkins, and Lane Kiffin all next time on the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. See you then.